Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to The Lock Shop, presented by Play Alberta, right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Thank you to everyone for listening across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams at edmontonsportstalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, watching on YouTube, or listening to this on podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. The Lock Shop at Edmonton Sports Talk, proudly presented by Play Alberta. Use EST Sports or EST50. Deposit 50 and get a free $50 sports bet over at Play Alberta. And you can also click on EST Specials and click on the special bets that we have there right now. It's the early bird bet. Avs at Sharks to have 6 or more goals. Also, the Montreal Canadiens and Utah Mammoth have 6 or more goals. That is boosted to plus 180. I'm Matt Owanek, host number 1 of the Lock Shop. I don't like saying number 1 because like Huss is also like, I guess it's like 1A, 1B type thing, but Huss will be by a little bit shortly. Host number 4 is somebody you like to define him as is Dustin Nielson, likely not on today. And with that, I'm actually very glad because he's got a meeting, but it's a chance for me to call him out on something. Because I believe last week, and you, the Lock Shoppers, could correct me if I'm wrong, hashtag justice for the Lock Shop. We're all here to push the Lock Shop forward. I believe last week when I was on with him, what was that, Wednesday, I think it was? He talked about how he's here for good. He's back for a long time. He's here. He's not missing these shows. He's committed to the Lock Shop. He's committed to doing this show. And a week later, he's already missing a show. And here's the thing. I'm on tomorrow, too. So when, hashtag justice for the Lock Shop is true to, it's dear to my heart now. So it is with Haas. When you hear from Dusty, the actions speak louder than the words. And right now, I think we could say the love of the Lock Shop from Dusty, not there. It's not there. And quite frankly, it's a little disappointing. It's a little saddening because we're trying to fight for the Lock Shop to be awarded mightily at the Estes. And he's doing everything he can, it seems, to try to take it away from the Lock Shop.
Yeah.
Hashtag justice for the Lock Shop. Trev.
As I've been the producer for the Lock Shop for the last 2 years, behind the scenes. Not a lot of people know that, but it is I. I will say, yeah, Maddie's definitely more pro Lock Shop, justice for the Lock Shop than anyone here. It's not even close.
For the 25-26, this run for those Estes.
Yes.
I'm here for it. It'd just be nice if there was some other support here at Edmonton Sports Talk from one of the other hosts on this one. Yeah, right. Maverick will never win an Esty with this lack of commitment. It's just a shame. Just the same. I apologize on behalf of Edmonton Sports Talk and on behalf of the Lock Shop to you, the Lock Shoppers. I apologize. I apologize sincerely to you. You have pushed hard for justice for the Lock Shop. And I wish from our end towards you, we could do the same level of commitment. But sadly, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Maybe we could do a little better. Next week, we will try to do just a little bit better. And this is when next Friday, I've already declared, we're probably going to have to, we're going to an EST special. Well, where we're going to EST World Cup special. It's not even going to be the hangout anymore. It's just EST World Cup special. Where next Friday, we're gonna be all in on the World Cup draw. I hope you understand that I'm not doing that lighthearted. That as the now main, like the guy of the Lock Shop here, I'm not trying to disrespect the Lock Shop there. It's going to be a special, like different special. I am here. Hashtag justice for the Lock Shop. Lots to get to. Let's bring him in right away here. And it's Hustler from Winnipeg Sports Talk. who also is fully in hashtag justice for the lock shop. I'm just pointing out that Dusty, who believes that he keeps claiming that he's for the lock shop, last week was saying how he's here for a while, like he's not missing shows, and yet here I am.
At this point, it becomes justice for Huss and who's ever popping on with me.
Yeah, I think that's the way we need to go with it. Hashtag justice for Huss.
Yeah,
we need to push for awards for Huss on behalf of the lock shop at the next year's Estes. That's what it has to be, because it's this other host, which people are defining as host number 4 now. The commitment's not there. The push isn't there. And Huss, you're kind of pushing this one on your own, but we're here with you now. We're here with you to push this forward.
My fingerprints are all over this station in the beautiful city of Edmonton. I mean, we started Winnipeg Sports Talk, did the blueprint. You guys took it, ran with it. We still had this fun show. And now, at times, this is sort of like what happens when the parents split up and then dad starts running with the new girl. And all of a sudden, he's missing hockey practice. And, he's not coming to pick you up after school anymore. There's a little bit of a feeling of abandonment. But this is when you just have to grow up. This is how you learn to be a man. We power through this show, and we be our best despite what, when we've had our backs turned on us.
Yeah, we learn. There's YouTube videos on how to fix things. I don't need to be taught how to fix the toilet. The guy on YouTube will teach me that type of stuff. Huss. I'm liking this. This is good.
Hey, let me ask you, how's the morning been on EST today? I've been busy. I did tune in and see if there's one silver lining to what happened last night, it's some big numbies for Tommy and the boys on the Diesel post-game show. That was ugly. And
was there a game last night, Huss? Is that what
you talked about this before on the previous shows? But I texted you this before. What loss was worse? And it's crazy. We're a quarter into the season, and you have a 9-1 home loss to Colorado and an 8-3 embarrassment to Dallas to choose from. The more I think about it, I think last night's one might be worse. I mean, listen, Colorado is the class of the league. Dallas is pretty darn close. I mean, trust me, we know it very well with them both being in the Jets division here in the Central. But to have had that already happen once, and then to come back and be humiliated in that fashion without any sort of shout out to our old pal Rick Bones, where was the pushback? It was that kid, 64. I can't even remember his name, that scored his first NHL goal. That was the only guy with a pulse on that team last night.
Clattenburg.
So good for him. And even in the third period, I had to laugh. Third period, there's like 6 minutes left. I mean, the game is over. And he's out on a shift. He runs a guy and does a hit. And credit to the fans that were still there at that game. A large ovation that somebody was out there doing something. It's crazy because that team that you guys have in Edmonton is so damn talented, is so good, but there are a few things missing right now. And I mean, you don't like to call, question the heart of a team, but let me ask you, who's the emotional leader of the Edmonton Oilers right now? You can't say Clattenburg.
No, well, he's the clubhouse leader in terms of actual results. You'd have to go to a guy like Hyman, I think. I think that's kind of the one of the player that you're looking at, that if you're getting that little bit of an energy, it might come from him, but not in the typical standpoint that like last year Corey Perry would give, which is just full physicality or getting into a fight. That he does things just the gritty way. But there's not a lot. It's if you go down that list and go, who's going to bring that energy or that heart tonight to carry everyone else? And just partly, like McDavid has his moments where he carries a team, but it's not a heart carry the team. It's just pure skill. You never would look at him and be like, he's been that player. But it would have to be Hyman and Clattenburg right now would have to be one, which is partly the problem there. I have thrown up a poll on the YouTube for anyone that wants to vote on it. Which loss was worse for the Oilers? 9-1 to the Avs, 8-3 to the Stars. I go with the 8-3 to the Stars. I texted you back with that one. Like they were without Duchesne, Harley, and Rantanen. You know, right off the bat, that's not a full Stars team, whereas that Avs team was much more, all there. Yeah. The other part, but you also had that loss. You had a 9-1 loss. You had that embarrassing loss. That should be in your mind of like, and they also have a 5-1 on the road trip to the Buffalo Sabres. There should be a level of we can't have that happen again. And they allowed, in a sense, 5 goals. The one was called back, but they allowed 5 goals really in the first period. They were down 4-0. And that's what makes that one a little bit more embarrassing, that you came out after this long 7-game road trip. And yeah, there's a lot of things people will say about it's that first game back's always tough, but not 8-3 tough. There could be 3-2 tough. There could be 2-1 tough. There could be an overtime loss tough. Not losing 8-3.
Who was doing the game last night? Was it Jack Michaels and Louis DeBrusk? Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't mean to slam them. I feel sorry for them because they're doing this game for an Edmonton audience. And I mean, what do you say? Oh my God, I felt sorry for Gene too, in between periods with the kids. I mean, it was just a nightmare scenario. But Michaels and Louis DeBrusk set an all-time record for mentioning the first game back after a long road trip tonight. I swear to God, they must have said that 15 times. And it did get me. If we have any analytics nerds out there that, want a nice little project, I would love to know, and we should be able to do this with, ChatGPT or AI. I've heard this adage a million times. Do we know that it's true? Like, if we look at the first game back after a road trip of X amount of games compared to other home games, is there a significant drop-off? Like, I don't know whether this is a self-fulfilling prophecy that teams have. It's sort of like that out. Oh, you get back, you see the wife and kids. There's all these reasons for it. I would love to actually see the data let's just say over the last 10 years.
Okay, well, I don't have
is this real, or is this just an excuse that people throw out? Because, and I mean, listen, as I say, I don't mean to come on those guys. They didn't have anything else to go. They had nowhere else to go. They were watching the game like everybody else was. But it must have been 12 or 15 times they talked about that first game back after a road trip. And there you go.
Okay, I found something on Reddit. I just quickly looked it up. So this is 2005 to 2015. So it's not recent data. This isn't 15 to 25. But this is a 10-year segment from 05 to 15. They found the win percentage in first home game after a road trip, but also all home games in general. All home games, the win percentage was about 55%. The first game back, the win percentage was 54.7. So, and then they broke it down in segments. So a 1-game road trip, the win percentage on the game back was 54.3. 2 was 54.9. 3 was 54.8. 4 was 55.6. 5, actually, weirdly enough, is 57.8% in this 10-year span. So it actually, if you had a 5-game road trip, that first game back, you actually had a better chance of winning than just any other time. 6 had a drop to 52.1. 7 jumped back up to 55.8. But I'm just looking at a chart right now that does say that it's about a 0.3% difference of winning a game at home and winning that first game at home after a road trip. That is stats from 05 to 15.
Well, I will offer up to you nasties out there that they were definitely more than 30% of a percentage point off last night. I mean, that was tough. And listen, I mean, obviously, McDavid's the best player in the world. Everyone would kill to have him. I didn't know what to think watching him after the game. Like, it was nice that he and Leon went up and spoke after the game. If I recall correctly, I don't think they were out there after the 9-1 game.
No, they were not.
Which is a tough look for a captain. I don't know whether, how did you take that? Was he just stunned? Was he trying not to lose his mind and his composure and say what he really wanted to say? Because it's not like he was great last night. I mean, this wasn't a team where, oh my God, the Stars are playing amazing and everyone else sucked and the goalies couldn't make a save. They were all flat. They were all bad. And listen, that's going to happen at the start of games. And talked about, they had been traveling a lot. And listen, they've been up and down this year. But coming off the win to finish up the road trip in a big game against a good team in the situation that they're in, I mean, that's as inexcusable a 60-minute effort as you're going to see. And I know Ekholm spoke afterwards. I think it was Gregor maybe that asked him. By the way, Gregor, incredible work on Twitter yesterday. That's an aside. I'm sure many of you saw what will be certainly his tweet of the year. But they asked Ekholm, what is this? And he sort of said, and listen, I kind of do buy into this. But he basically said, we played a lot of hockey the last couple of years. And, we know it's just about being there and being at your best at the end of the season. But holy smokes, if you're actually thinking that way, it's going to be tough to win games. And I mean, you can't be wake me up in January or after the Olympic break and we're going to really give her.
I want to disagree with you on that, but this is what this team does. And they've done it the last few years. They're in a similar spot that they've been in. Now, maybe the results are a little bit more when you're watching them worse than what they were the last couple of years. The one last year, don't recall, 9-1, 8-3 in the span of a month at home. But this is a team that turns it on in January. This is a team that has a record that's something like 28-4-4 or something like that in the last 3 years in January. There is a part of me that believes that they just truly believe whatever about October, November, and a large part of December, that we're going to pick it up in January because we know what it takes to go to the end. And we can't give it our all from game 1 of the regular season to game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. So we've got to, limit how much energy we expel at the early part of the season. But that's a dangerous game to play if that's truly what they're playing here, because you don't have a lot of room for error that if you happen to get on a 3-game losing streak in January, is your season done.
So essentially, the Oilers are the smart kid in class that knows that they're going to be judged by the final exam. And right now they're cutting classes. Yes. They're not studying. And they're not worried. They're like, hey, I'll be fine at the end. Look at what I did in grade 10 and grade 11. I screwed around for the first 2 months of the season. I
got my 85 on the test.
Hanging out with girls. It was great. And then, you know what? When I almost got kicked out of class, then I finally said, okay, you know what? You got me. I'm here. I hit the books. And lo and behold, I ended up finishing second in the class.
That's maybe where they're going, but then the risk with that is all of a sudden you just actually can't catch up on the work, and you fail the exam, and you have to do it again in summer school or something like that. So, but they feel that maybe that they're able to do that. Now, other people will point to though with this team is that some of the signs that they see with this team are just not good though. The issues of this year you haven't seen fully with the Oilers of, let's say, last year. But that's where I'm still not concerned about this team missing the playoffs. I'm not there yet. I think they're too good, too talented that they will get to that point. But I also always believe that this was a season that the Edmonton Oilers weren't going to go to a cup final run. That they did it 2 years in a row. There was going to be a little bit of a down year. And cap situation, talked about in the hangout, last couple of hours. With the cap and the situation of going up and the Oilers with McDavid and all that, next summer is kind of the year where they could really tool. And the goalies are off the books completely. And we'll see what they do. I don't know if you saw the Frank Saravalli report from yesterday about the Oilers goaltending, where he reported that Stan Bowman wanted to send down Calvin Pickard to call up Connor Ingram in net. And it was the players, they rallied and they said no. They want to keep Calvin Pickard around. And Stan Bowman's now going to give him through December. But somewhat Stan Bowman, clearly, according to this report, wanting to do something, players saying, no, don't do that. And listening to the inmates, basically, in this case.
Can they just call up Ingram? Do they have any spots? I mean, I guess that the kid that was up right now.
Yeah, they would have to be pretty creative with something like that. And they just already lost Troy Stetcher.
Their cap doesn't even allow them. You can't carry an extra salary.
Also, are you worried that you're going to lose Calvin Pickard on waivers?
Edmonton Oilers I don't know about that. Are you worried about the Oilers losing a goalie?
And if you do lose them, is it a loss this season? Like,
hey, I mean, what I don't know what he's making, but you could make an argument that just taking a contract in the net minding position off the books, giving Ingram for a bit, and then an opportunity to maybe go and get somebody else. So Edmonton Oilers for life. This year's different. Our underlying metrics are horrific. We aren't generating any chances. The boys are tired mentally and physically. They aren't trying to conserve. They just don't have the will or gas right now. In past years, when we started off bad, we still had elite XGF, etc. There's something to be said for that. Sure. I mean, like they were showing last night during the game, and this has been a constant. You guys have been seeing it every single night. You turn on the television, the team is playing. I mean, they're in the bottom 5 of pretty much every key defensive metric in the league right now. And you can bitch about goaltending all you want. And I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you it's not good enough. And, they could certainly use it, improvement. But I'll also say that if you're going to show me a team that is consistently in the bottom 5 of every defensive metric in the National Hockey League, throw Hellebuck in there, throw Shesterkin. They might steal a game for you. But over the course of a period of time, it doesn't work. And you hang these teams out to dry. That's why it's great teams that win. Hellebuck won a Vezina for the Jets, his first one, when the team was a bit of a disaster in front of him. And he was so good and he so outplayed the way the team was playing in front of him that he won a Vezina trophy. Fast forward to the last 2 years, in his last 2 Vezinas, they've been the number 1 team in the league because they bought into a defensive system, kept to it, and they had their greatest heights as a team right now. So, I mean, it's really weird. And I don't think that they're at the point where the coach is going to take a bullet. I mean, it's sort of, if you look at games like that, sometimes you go, oh man, this team's trying to get their coach fired. But and I know Tommy spoke about this on the post-game show yesterday. Like at that point, at least Tom's take was, and I'll defer to him. I mean, obviously he's a lot closer to it than me, as well as all of you guys, that they were sort of, I believe to use his quote, they were sort of tired of Croft's act. Like it was getting sort of toxic in there. It doesn't seem like that's the case right now with the Oilers. I mean, like it's not like they hate this guy or anything like that. He's just not able to get the performances that they need to give them a chance to play on an even playing field with good teams like Dallas last night, even without 3 of their top guys.
Yeah, if you're looking at where could he take a bullet, I guess that really comes down to is just what is Daryl Cates thinking and what's his expectation. And if I'm going to go to worst case, the Oilers missed the playoffs this year. Does anyone have to pay a price for that? Because in my mindset, I don't think they do. I think
if
you
miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I would go with it because I think cap space that's coming next year is kind of that year. Sometimes the best thing to do is just admit that it was just a bad year and not overreact to a thing. But it's what is Daryl Cates think? Is that pressure? Would he want Stan Bowman's head to roll? If the pressure's on Stan Bowman, well, he's never made a coaching change with the Oilers because he hasn't been here long enough. That was Jeff Jackson. GM generally gets the coach. So if he's feeling the pressure in that sense, then I could see the coach maybe if things don't turn around that when we get to the new year, the hockey coach lifespan is small now. It's 2.5 years. And I don't care that he signed an extension. I could see that happening if there's that pressure on Bowman. But if they're getting okay, this isn't the good season. We understand that. But we have a lot of cap space next year. It's over $17 million right now. If the cap goes up a little bit more, it's a little bit more than that. We could fix goaltending. We could go target a few other things. Most of the players are locked in. Next year's really the year to go after this. Then I think maybe some continuity could happen. They made the playoffs in the end, but there's been talk over the last few years that maybe should John Cooper go in Tampa. That'd be foolish. Mark Tomlin with the Steelers. Should have he been let go over the last few years? It'd be foolish in my mind. Sometimes continuity, you just have to go with it a little bit more. So, but you never know with this owner. You never know where the pressure is coming from. If if he misses out on a playoff date, if he misses out, if this team's a first round exit, is he going to be furious that he's missing out on the revenue? I don't know if you saw the valuations for the leagues or the teams that came out yesterday. Oilers are the 5th most valuable NHL franchise, and they had like $400 million in revenue last year, higher than pretty much every other team. Well, that's because they went on a long playoff run and they could have really high prices. How much is Daryl Katz going to be mad about that? So I honestly don't know fully where all that is. But, you know, also in this city, we've seen the coach change so much. Like, right, if they hadn't gone to 2 Cup finals back years, this would feel like a coach is getting fired this week. Like, this is a perfect day, 3 days. Let's get ready for that press conference. But I do feel like there's a little bit more calm right now with the Oilers, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know.
It didn't seem that calm on the post game last night.
No, not publicly, no, but the organization internally, how are things going?
I love Belzy's takes last night in that, you know, like, this is a guy that's played, you know, he's a player. He's been in locker rooms. And even he, who I think would probably understand the ups and downs of an 82-game schedule and the first couple months and coming off a really strong year and everything that goes into it. Like, he came back to my point. I mean, just at a certain sense, like, the level of pride, like, you are getting embarrassed by a team out there. And
without key players,
it didn't seem like the give and F factor was so low for a team in that situation. And that is really concerning. Now, less concerning having it in November with the history of this team than if this was happening in March or in April, or God forbid in the playoffs. But it's just hard to believe when you look at the talent on that team right now, how they're serving up duds like that. And listen, there's, you know, times are good right now at Edmonton. And you mentioned the valuation of the franchise. Well, guess that's the McDavid effect. But this organization also went through the 10 years, the decade of darkness. And it wasn't like that. And Edmonton wasn't on that list. And, you know, if you have a horrible season like this that steps back, I mean, you got 2 more years with Connor that you know of for sure.
After this year, yeah.
There's a lot that the pressure on Stan Bowman is immense. And I guess, to use your question, say the unthinkable happened and they missed the playoffs this year. The Edmonton Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl were out of the playoffs. Obviously, there's big decisions that would need to be made based on what's happened over the last couple of years. If you're the owner, especially one that has an incredible sense of urgency to get this done while you have McDavid under contract to hopefully keep him and keep this thing rolling forward, do you have the confidence that Stan Bowman's the guy that's going to be able to do what he wasn't able to do last year at all? I mean, they got the biggest gift in recent NHL history with McDavid taking that. Now, I know the contract doesn't kick in until next year, so maybe that's unfair. But you think about the ads, the weird moves. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about, like, where's the pulse on this team? You signed Trent Frederick to an 8-year deal
with trade protection.
Gave him a full no move to be like an energy guy that's going to go and do stuff. Did he play last night? I mean,
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It is fascinating watching what's going on here. But yeah, but that's also like the gift. It isn't for till next year, and that's why I just look at next summer as the year for the Oilers. You can go get a goalie now. Which goalie? I don't know.
Do we know? I'm sure you guys have looked at that. Who are the pending UFA goalies?
There's not good pending UFAs. Like Bobrovsky's one, but he's going to be Florida. He's probably going to retire or something like that. Beyond that, like, you have Cam Talbot. You don't have sexy names at all. There's not one you look at him like, there's the answer. It's going to have to be a trade. Now, what trade is it? Binnington's being rumored right now. And I know there's people that are mixed reviews on Binnington. Well, Binnington is better than what you have. But I also don't know how that fits in the cap right now. It does fit into the cap next summer. And that's where do you make that trade now where you maybe have to give up an extra asset to get salary retained? Or do you wait till the summer to get that and you don't have to give up as many assets? Because the Oilers also the one thing, they don't have a lot of assets. They have traded a lot of assets. They don't have a first-round pick this year. They have a first-round pick next year. Like, what do you do when it comes to getting those players? What can you throw into a trade? And I just don't think the Oilers have, at some point you're going to run out of some of those assets because you have nothing in the cupboards.
On Binnington, and listen, I can't stand the guy. I'm just going to say I have major biases built in against Jordan Binnington, despite having to couch all those for one game in Boston in the Four Nations final, where he came up huge. And, I guess he'll always have that. But I saw Kevin Woodley on after the game last night with the folks on Sportsnet. And this wasn't an Oiler conversation. This was a Team Canada conversation. And they were talking about the goaltending. And he said, Logan Thompson, after being overlooked last year, now has like a body of work over the last year and a half that he's been amongst the best goalies in the National Hockey League and should be basically a no-brainer. But the other two guys, Montembeault and Binnington, have struggled this year. And he rolled out the stat, and forgive me, I mean, you can probably go back to SportsCenter if you want to see this exactly. I believe he was talking about the goals saved above expected. I believe this is it. And he said there's 66 goaltenders in the league that have qualified for to be in this list. They've played enough, not just guy getting a game. And of the 66, Montembeault's 66th, Binnington's 64th. So
who's 65th? Stuart Skinner?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't see. I mean, we may have to look it up right now. But the bottom line is and listen, sometimes it's just a change of scenery. And Binnington has that sort of alpha in him that maybe you roll him into a team like this and he can get on fire because he is as streaky as they come.
Yeah, you just need, if you got a Binnington, if you had a Binnington, you need him to do just a little bit more for like production. And then beyond that, it's the playoffs. Can he step up in the playoffs? So, but I also don't see how that fits. So, that's a long Oiler chat that we just had there. There's 15 games in the NHL tonight, though.
Even being out of the market, I mean, obviously I pay a lot closer attention to Edmonton than every other team outside of the Jets because of the work I did with you guys on here. And I mean, listen, they're also the team that the Jets and everyone else is chasing, presumably, in the Western Conference. They won the conference the last 2 years. They've been right there in the Cup final. So it really is stunning to see, what's happening last night. But that was ugly. I was feeling for the Nasties last night. You guys deserve better. You support your team incredibly well. You pay big money to go see those games. And I mean, the Colorado and the Dallas games this year are as bad as you will see a good team. We know they're a good team. We know they're a great team based on the last couple of years when they're in. And that was ugly. Yeah, you know what? Speaking of the 15 games in the league tonight, it's probably unfortunate for the Oilers that they're not playing tonight. Like, that's a game where you would love to have the opportunity to come right back out and just get over that thing, put that in the rearview mirror. I mean, now they're actually off, I think,
till
for
Saturday.
3 days.
Yeah, they don't play. They're in Seattle on Saturday at 2. They have an autograph session at West Edmonton Mall tomorrow. So they have a bit of time here.
It's so funny. I mean, those community events are so few and far in between. It is all a little hilarious that it's happening after one of the most embarrassing losses probably in the last. I mean, where does that one rank up? Those 2 losses, they've got to be top 10 in the last.
Well, this decade for sure, they're top 2 in this decade. Era. Yeah. It's good times here. Good times here. Jets in Washington will take on the Caps. The other Canadian team, Calgary and Tampa, to take on the Lightning. You've got Leafs in Columbus. Montreal's in Utah. Ottawa's in Vegas. I believe Ottawa's the only Canadian team right now in a playoff spot. Vancouver in Anaheim. Let's start though. Jets, Caps. What are you liking for tonight? Obviously, still no Connor Hellebuyck because it's 4-6 and so. But how are you liking the Jets tonight?
Well, Matt, it's the old adage, misery loves company. The Jets lose 2 games at home on the weekend. One really close game to Carolina. And then a game against Minnesota Sunday afternoon where they had a really good start but couldn't score. And then sort of got behind the puck in the second period, give up a couple, and then just didn't really have that push to get back in the game. 2 ugly shorthanded goals against, one in each game that were big, and people were freaking out. So maybe the perspective, last night's game gave us some perspective on where the team is right now. Although, they're 3 games above 500. They're 3-6 in their last 9. They're not everyone is still so close. That's the funny thing about the Oilers. As terrible as they've looked, and they have no regulation wins or whatever, they're not really that far off. A good 10-day stretch, and all of a sudden they'll be back into it. But the Jets, this is sort of crunch time for them. They've got 3 games in 4 nights, starting tonight in DC. Very good Carolina team waiting on Friday afternoon, and then the pathetic Nashville Predators. And they're doing it without Connor Hellebuyck. And the funny thing about this is the Jets' record at the beginning of the year was really good, but the underlying numbers were ugly. They were in that area we were just talking about in Edmonton, at the bottom of the defensive metrics, which is just not even close to Jets hockey under Bonus and under Scott Arniel. So now they hit the road without Hellebuyck, and they've been losing these games, and all those numbers are getting better, significantly better over the last 10 games. So the excitement about tonight's game from a Winnipeg perspective is their top prospect is making his NHL debut. Elias Salmonson's going to be playing on the second pair with Dylan Sandberg. So people are very excited to see him. I don't have confirmation, but I will imagine, maybe we can go through the starting goalies. I will imagine that Comrie's going to go again for Winnipeg. They've got a rookie goalie that's never played a game in the NHL, and Thomas Milic. You'll remember him from the World Juniors. He's going to get a game over these next couple, maybe a couple, depending on what happens. So this is a time. If they can win tonight, everything, the temperature cools down. Because basically what Winnipeg needs to do is keep their head above water, maintain their spot, be 3. They're 3 games above 500 right now. If they could be 1 or 2 games above 500 during this Hellebuyck time away, and you come back to Christmas or the New Year, and you're in that 5 range, everyone would be happy. It's not going to be easy missing your best player, especially at that position. But they're playing against a good Washington team. All the lines got switched up last game, with the exception of the top line. They're going to be back together. So this is going to be a bit of a gut check for the Jets. I think they're about plus 130 or something like that. I haven't seen if the lines changed today.
Jets are plus 128, so right in that
plus
area.
128. Okay, yeah. So right in and around that area. They won't be going on any parlays tonight. I can tell you that. Based on what's happened, but it's a big game for Winnipeg. They could get off and get 2 points to start off the road trip. It would be massive for a team that I would say has sort of lost a little bit, lost its confidence, but there are levels to this, and they're not quite at the DEFCON 5 that we maybe saw last night from a certain hockey team we've just been talking about for half an hour.
One game I'm looking at today, by the way, Eric Comrie is confirmed. But just looking at a game later tonight, it's the Kraken hosting the Stars. Kraken as home dogs, plus 111 on the money line. Now, the Stars are getting Mikko Rantanen back because last night was his 1-game suspension. But I don't expect Harley or Duchesne to return in this one. And I do feel like they're probably feeling pretty good after having taken out the Edmonton Oilers last night. It won't be Jake Onger likely tonight. It'll probably be Casey DeSmith. I do like the Kraken at plus money in this one, on the back end of a back-to-back for the Stars, who have to travel from Edmonton to Seattle.
Yeah, normally I think I would buy into that. The thing with Dallas right now, and this kind of gets into the Central Division, the toughest neighborhood in the league. When you see the consistency and the excellence that the Colorado Avalanche are playing with right now,
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas is 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they've lost ground to the Avs,
Who are 9-0-1 in their last 10.
There's just a different standard right now that's being set in this division by Colorado, and everyone is coming back. Like, Dallas is a good team. And here's the other thing. Like, I don't know, I should maybe check it out. But I mean, there's always that thing about, back-to-backs and everything like that. Like, they probably played their third and fourth line most of the second and third periods. Like, they certainly weren't leaning on Rupee Hintz. I've got him on my fantasy pool. He only had one goal. They just got to kind of kick back and, let the guys play, knowing that you're playing the next day. Dallas is really good. And Dallas, to me, is such a better team than Seattle. It is sometimes hard, even in this scenario, to say. But, I mean, I totally understand why where you're looking at.
The Stars, earlier this month, they beat the Kraken in Dallas 2-1. So it was a close. Kraken have won 4 of their last 6. They're coming off the 1-0 shootout loss to the New York Islanders. One of those classic games where no goals is scored, and we get to overtime. I understand what you're saying with the Stars too. There, I could see that the Stars having, if there's going to be a letdown coming up here, just a slight one. I could see a team like the Kraken. The Kraken are. I'm still not sure that we'll sit there at the end of the season and see them in the playoffs. But they're a team that's sitting second in the Pacific, and they have been playing some decent hockey a little bit as of late. And no Ottinger, that maybe there's an opportunity there for the Kraken to capitalize. I'm just trying to see if I can.
That's wild. You know what? You just said that. I'm like, what? They're second in the Pacific.
Yeah, Hintz only played 16 minutes last night.
Above 500, actually. There you go. Credit where credit is due. That's they're actually in a pretty good spot right now, all things considered.
Like, if it was some other teams, or if it was Seattle of last year, I wouldn't be as confident on that one. But I just think that there might be a little bit of value getting the Kraken as home dogs, just considering the Stars. But everything you said about the Stars is absolutely right. And look what they did to the Oilers without 3 of those guys, and one of those guys is coming back, so there might be something to that as well. Anything else stand out to you?
Atlantic Division and Pacific Division, each division has only 2 teams with a positive goal differential. Like, Seattle's in second place. They're -2. Vegas is +3. Anaheim's +11.
These are the Panthers.
And then you look in the Atlantic, Tampa is +9. And the Panthers, despite being in the standing 6th, are +2. Ottawa's at 0. They're at least even. And then the Metropolitan Division has 6 teams in positive goal differential, and same thing for the Central Division.
In the East, there's not a single team with a negative differential in the double digits. There are 5 in the West, including the Edmonton Oilers. The only teams worse than the Oilers are the Blues and the Preds at -24, -29. Losing 9-1, 5-1, and 8-3 in a month does that to your goal differential.
Which brings me to the fact that Detroit's, I would have expected Detroit to be a much, much bigger favorite tonight in this game against the Nashville Predators, who, you want to talk about listless. Barry Trotz calls them all out, and they go up and give a goal 11 seconds into the game. Frank Saravelli called it the most toxic situation in the entire NHL, which is sort of surprising because so many guys want to play there. Great city, good fan base. But I think I'll be looking at Detroit tonight. What do you think about this Leafs Blue Jackets game? It's basically a pick'em. They played a couple times already this year.
Yeah, Leafs were lucky in one of those because I think they lost to the Blue Jackets, but it was during like one of those Jays games, so no one was paying attention. They lost 6-3 to the Blue Jackets on the road. They lost 3-2 in overtime to the Blue Jackets. So they've lost both games so far to the Blue Jackets. They've had time to sit on a bad loss on Saturday. I don't know. They have something that's not going right, just like the Edmonton Oilers right now.
I think they're going to be getting Matthews and Nyes back.
Oh, yeah?
And to me, that is like Austin Matthews right now. He's being tested unlike any other point, I think, in his career. Before, Marner was there, was the whole bunch of them. He's now 10 years in. And they've been so off of where they need to be right now. I saw Craig Berube at the morning skate being really positive and getting the guys going. To me, this is a team that should be way, way better than they are right now. And, getting those guys back, coming off that loss, I think I might, for the very rare time, put a little faith in the Leafs and have them on a ticket tonight.
Yeah, well, Matthews, Knives, and Nicholas Waugh, they're all back. So they're getting a few new bodies back into the lineup. I didn't see that one. I do like them to then bounce back. There should be a spark. If you're not getting a spark from the return, especially of Knives and Matthews, you might be the sign of some deeper problems there. That I do like the Leafs. Right now I'm just trying to build something for Lock Shop Parlay. I've got Moneyline Red Wings and Leafs. I don't know if there's a third game we want to throw in there.
Okay. The Penguins have been struggling. Buffalo, after being humiliated by Calgary, came back and put 9 up on Chicago and beat the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm thinking do we like the run Buffalo's on right now? It would be the most Buffalo thing, though, to have those 2 games and then show up and just absolutely no show in this game against the Penguins. I don't think we're at the point where we're trusting Buffalo again just yet right now. Jersey's at home to St. Louis. Again, there's no Jack Hughes, but the Blues are just a mess. If it wasn't for the Predators, they would be the team. They've lost 5 of their last 6, coming off that loss to the Rangers in their last game. They beat the Islanders 2-1, and then it was lost to Philly, lost to the Leafs, lost to the Golden Knights, lost to the Flyers again. Jersey, do we have, is it Markstrom or is it Jake Allen tonight?
It's Markstrom confirmed.
He had a solid game in their 4-3 win over
I do like the Devils. Again, the Blues had a minus 24 whatever goal differential going. They're just not in a good spot. We've already faded the Preds in that one too. I don't mind throwing the Devils in there too.
Yeah, I like that. And if you put those 3 in, you're probably in and around the 440,
436. 436.
Yeah.
Get the little boost, a little bit higher. That's a nice 3, I would say.
With a nice little boost. Because it's a fun one. There's so many games tonight. You can almost do that in the early slate and then look at some of the games later on. Just on games late, I don't mind but anyways, I'm in on that. Detroit, Toronto, New Jersey. Count me in for that. I will bet it.
Before
Minnesota, I was just going to say, from the later games, Minnesota is playing incredible right now. They're back-to-back shutouts going into this game against the Blackhawks tonight. I'm seeing minus 135. I'm sure they'll be in that neighborhood. That is a little surprising. I bet the Avalanche puck line every night. It never seems to fail. They're just crushing teams. It's now you're laying juice on it, even against a team like the Sharks that are good. Utah has been playing really well. Habs, not so much. Don't mind the Mammoth at minus, in the minus 140 area. Vancouver's in Anaheim. I know you were talking about that Dallas Kraken game. And then interesting one, Ottawa and the Vegas Golden Knights. And Vegas has still just been able to squeak by, and they've been getting their wins even without, some of their top players, and looking looking right away. But I think favorite ones, Minnesota. This is just killing me because it's every team in the Jets division. We like Colorado, we like Dallas, we like Utah, we like the Wild. I mean, Jets better win tonight.
Well, the Jets will be watching it all too.
Well, hopefully after a win tonight, they need this one big time.
I do want to move on quickly because we only got about 5 minutes left here. Because when we're on there tomorrow, one football game will already be underway. Yeah. So want to quickly Packers, Lions, Lions -2.5 on the spread, favorite -154 on the money line against the Packers at home tomorrow, where Jack White's going to be performing the halftime show. Learned today. Your thoughts on this one? Jack White used to be of the White Stripes.
Oh, Jack White. I thought you said Derek White. I'm like, I'm not familiar with Derek White.
Jack White.
That'll be hey, big Jack White guy. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Yeah, Detroit's always had a good Detroit connected artist. They had Big Sean. They had Eminem. Detroit. This
Eminem's
seems
producing.
like a rat line. Oh, really?
Apparently, he's got a deal with the Lions through 27 to produce their Thanksgiving halftime shows. I learned this on the Hangout.
I heard that.
So
maybe he'll come out and do something for it. That'd be neat. This seems like a rat line. Are you still seeing 2.5 for Detroit?
Yeah. 2.5 Detroit.
It feels like they're begging us to take the Lions. Every impulse for me is the Lions. I don't really believe in the Packers. I shouldn't say I don't believe in them. I think they're good. I think they'll be a playoff team, but I realize that their defense is good. And I know that they handled the Packers in week 1 in Lambeau pretty handily. But I just I feel that Detroit got away with one. I think they were already gearing up for the Packers in that game against the Giants on the weekend. And I just think they're too good not to win this game. And Goff, I have some concerns about when he's playing outside. They're so good in the dome. My spidey senses are tingling big time because of the 2.5 right now. I'm surprised that it is not 3. But I'm backing the Lions. Now, if you want, you could just go money line on this one and not worry about the spread. But I like them in this game. And by the way, if you're looking for a touchdown score or a prop, Jameson Williams is the most hot and cold guy in the league. Now, listen, he's never going to get the sort of targets that Amon-Ra St. Brown does, but he was held off the board last week. I'm betting him to score a touchdown in this game. I'm just seeing what his number is anytime, in and around plus 180. And let's see, what's his long reception? Because when he hits, it's a big one. Jameson Williams, long reception, over 24.5 is plus 112. So I think he's going to get a big one. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it to the house. I'm not as sure about the Jahmyr Gibbs props. I mean, we saw what he did last week. If you're in a PPR league, he had 60 freaking points. Packer defense is good. They're going to probably have a few more guys blocking Micah Parsons to try to give Goff a little bit more time. But I'm in on the Lions, even though, as I say, spidey senses are tingling. Where are you at?
I'll give one reason for the Packers here. Last 8 Thanksgiving games, the Detroit Lions are 1-7. Last year, they got that one victory, and that was the game where the Bears screwed up the clock management after the game, and they fired their coach afterwards because they completely bungled that up completely.
Yes, the grand finale of the Matt Eberflus era.
Absolutely. So there's Thanksgiving, even in this era of the Lions run of the last couple of years, it's not stellar. So for me, Packers already had that first win, and the Packers really I think they need to make a statement. They have too many bad losses this year. They lost to the Browns. They lost, I'll still say, to the Panthers. They need to make a statement, and I do like the Packers coming in tomorrow. And definitely covering the 2.5. I would take the points there. But I would take them on the money line because I do think the Packers get this victory. Haas, you and I, we could
number on the money line. I mean, plus 130 on that. I mean, for the games tomorrow, as I say, I'm on Detroit. I'm not wavering from it. I like Kansas City in this game. but it could be close. I mean, the Chiefs are notorious for not covering spreads. I mean, their spreads sometimes are inflated. If you want to take it to 2.5, you could. I think my favorite pick, though, is the Bengals plus the points.
I don't hate that one. Joe Burrow back.
Yeah.
Yes, I got it. Hernan. Joe Burrow's back, and it's a toe issue that Lamar's still dealing with. That offense just hasn't looked good. We will get into those two games tomorrow here on the Lock Shop. Haas, what's coming up on WSD?
Well, we're going to be all over this game tonight. Mike McIntyre is going to join us from DC. We'll kick it off hearing from the coaches, and I'll ask Salmonson, who's making his debut tonight. We're going to spend about half an hour with Remus and Connor doing our sort of quarter season breakdown of the team. Not necessarily like letter grades for everyone, but, you know, whose stock's rising, who's fallen, and look ahead to the second quarter without Connor Hellebuck and focus in on who needs to step up if they're going to maintain their position or improve it in a division where everyone seems to win every night. And then last half hour, we'll dive into the NFL games for tomorrow on Turkey Day down south.
Hashtag justice for Haas. We're with you, Haas. Hey, enjoy. Listen, we'll chat tomorrow.
It's always a pleasure spending the noon hour with you, Maddie. It's great to see it. I'm sure we'll do it again tomorrow.
We're doing it again tomorrow. Have a good one, Haas. Go check him out. Winnipeg Sports Talk. Again, it's just moving on. The Haas clearly, it's illustrated earlier, the dad has left us. He went for the milk and he never came back, it feels like. And that guy, guess who's on the oil stream coming up next? It's Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola. Hashtag justice for Haas. Hashtag justice for the Lock Shop. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. I'll get that parlay up. Red Wings, Leafs, Devils on the money line. This has been the Lock Shop. Reminder, EST Sports, EST 50, deposit 50, get a free $50 sports bet. On behalf of us, I'm Matt Owanick. Thanks for tuning into Lock Shop, presented by Play Alberta. We've got Oil Stream. We got EST Afternoons, Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, all coming up until 6 o'clock here on EST. Clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Oil Stream in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.